What is up, fight fans? It is Maddie Levine back for the 1-2 punch. And I took a little hiatus, had to take some time off from the computer, but we are back in action with a very exciting interview today. She's got a huge fight coming up, and she's fighting out of Boxing Works in California. She's currently 3-0 in one championship, but if you follow Muay Thai at all, you are very familiar with this fighter, and it is Jackie Buntan. Jackie, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
I am so excited. I have been following you since your amateur days, which, I mean, wasn't too far away, but I'm really excited to have you today.
Oh, that's amazing. Thank you.
Yeah. Where are you joining me from today?
I'm here at home in Torrance, California.
Very nice. I'm sure it's much warmer than the East Coast right now. I'm currently in Rhode Island, so it's a little cold
Oh,
over
geez.
here.
Yeah, I mean, I can't complain about the California weather.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'd love to hear a little bit about your background. I'm sure your journey took a while to get to where you are now. So tell me a little bit about how you got involved with Muay Thai.
Yeah, I started Muay Thai when I was 11 years old. I'm 24 now, so it's been 13 years.
Wow.
Yeah, a long time. But growing up, when I was a little girl, I was definitely a tomboy. I was like always outside, always active. I never joined any team sports because I was definitely a shy kid, but I was always outside skateboarding, biking, playing soccer, just doing something. And it wasn't until around 11 years old, martial arts really sparked my interest. And my brother-in-law at the time was training Muay Thai kind of just for fitness, for hobby.
Mhm.
And he's like, oh, let me just introduce you to this just because the more popular ones at the time, like Taekwondo, karate, didn't really interest me. At that young age, it just seemed like I wanted something kind of straightforward where I could literally just hit someone, if that makes sense. It's more of like a straightforward type of strike. And he showed me Muay Thai, and I was like, wow, this is it. This is like amazing. So I was like hooked right when he introduced me to the sport. And I just remember Googling, like going on Google when I was 11 years old, just like closest Muay Thai gym near me. And I stumbled across Boxing Works at the time, which was in Hermosa Beach, which isn't far at all. And yeah, I've been with Boxing Works and Brian Popejoy, my coach, ever since.
I love watching the relationship that you have with your coach, Brian Popejoy. I mean, he's so well known in the Muay Thai community, martial arts community. And I've heard you refer to him as like a second dad. So tell me a little bit about that relationship that you have.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I've known him since I was a kid, 13 years now, and he's just always he's always had the belief in me, and he's always put his time into me, and that's definitely what made me more comfortable to open up more around him and you know trust him more as a coach. And of course that goes further on to being a friend, a mentor, and like I said, like since I've known him since I was a kid, he's like almost like a coach dad. He's a bit of everything for me.
Yeah. I'm curious, is there a story behind the Boxing Works scarf that you and your teammate Janet Todd wear when you guys walk out to the cage or the ring?
Yeah, that started with Brian. I can't remember. I think it was, I'll be honest, I don't watch a lot of sports, but I think it stemmed from, he was talking about this. It stemmed from, I think, the soccer fans who would wear these scarves when they go to
Yeah.
games. And Brian was like, that'd be awesome if we had a gym scarf like that. So it's not even just for Janet and I know you guys get to see it on TV, but the amateur team, all my other teammates,
Right.
every time we're getting announced, we have the Boxing Work scarf on. So it's a cool
And
little token to take around the world and stuff.
I just think it's such a cool little thing that you guys have. I mean, not many boxers or kickboxers are wearing scarves when they're walking out to the ring. So I
No,
just thought
definitely not.
that's a really cool tradition that you guys have. And you guys seem to have a really great culture. So talk to me about the fight team as a whole at Boxing Works.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think I just was so fortunate and grateful to stumble across Boxing Works when I first started because it was, even though I was younger, it was still the same type of vibe and energy in the gym. And, Brian's really made it to where Boxing Works is a family type gym. It's not really more so gym, it's more so like it's a martial arts school, he always
Mhm.
likes to call it. So I think going in with that mentality, knowing, it's like a school, there's things that are expected, a certain, you know, I think that attracts certain people, that certain vibe. So I think we got really lucky to have such a close, tight-knit family with all the members, and of course the fight team too.
Mm. Was fighting always on your radar, or did that kind of develop over the years? I mean, starting
No,
at 11,
definitely.
it's like, did you go in at 11 being like, I'm going to fight today? Like, how did that work?
No, definitely not. I had zero intentions of fighting. Like, as much as I was fascinated and loved it, it was more so I just wanted to train it just as a hobby, something I could say like, yeah, I'm an athlete, I do this.
Mm.
But like, you start training long enough, you start pushing yourself long enough, of course you're going to want to challenge yourself. And it wasn't until like maybe 2 years into my training, one of the coaches at BoxerMerks mentioned if I want to compete, and I was like, you're insane. No, I don't. But then, I took maybe, I don't know how long I took to like, digest the thought of me competing. And I was like, why not? It sounds fun. Like, I feel like I'm ready enough for it, and that I care about this enough to make sure that I'm doing it correctly. It's not just like a, okay type of thing. Like,
Right. Let's see
sorry,
how this
Melanie, like
goes.
half-ass type of thing. Yeah, exactly. Like I was sure of it. So that definitely, it was something that gradually came to my interest.
How old were you when you first stepped in the ring?
I was 13.
Okay, so I mean, still pretty
Yeah.
young.
Yeah.
And was it
Still
always
young.
Muay Thai?
Yeah, always Muay Thai. Started with Muay Thai, still with Muay Thai.
Yeah.
I don't think you'll ever see me in MMA.
You know,
But
as I do amateur kickboxing, and I always see these MMA outlets asking strikers, so when are you going to MMA? But it's like two different worlds. Would you agree?
no, I definitely agree. And it's like nothing against,
Of
jiu-jitsu,
course.
wrestling, all that. It's just, it's what I know, it's what I
Mhm.
love. And it's kind of at the certain point of your career, it's kind of like, why not pursue something you're going to reach the
Mhm.
top with? So,
So when you're not in the gym, which I'm sure is quite often, what are some stuff that you like to do? Who is Jackie outside of fighting?
oh man, I mean, I think people say they could see it in my fighting style, I guess. I'm a very chill person. I'm a very laid back girl. I grew up here in the South Bay of LA, so I'm definitely by the beach a lot. So, not doing Muay Thai. I love just staying home with my dog, my boyfriend. Maybe I'll go, skate a bit or bike a bit with my dog and boyfriend as well. Or if I'm not in a fight camp, I'm a definite foodie, so I'm definitely
Yes.
eating at a bunch of restaurants all over with my
Yes.
girlfriends. So, I think I'm your typical normal 20-something-year-old girl
Yeah,
outside of this world.
totally. Was the nickname Snacky Jackie self-given, or was that given to you because of your foodie behavior?
Oh, it's definitely given to me from my teammate April Vergara. Like I
Love it.
love my food and snacks, and she just came up with it, and I was like, this is it. Like this is the perfect name for me.
So, out of fight camp, what are some things that you're like, yes, I need to eat this right now? What are some of your favorites?
Oh my God, anything with noodles, like number one,
Yes.
ramen and sushi. I love Japanese food, so Italian food, like anything heavy with carbs, of course, but
Everything
I
you
would
can't
say like
have.
exactly. I would say pasta and ramen are definitely like I'm always in the mood, always craving that.
Yes, I would wholeheartedly agree. So Boxing Works is I mean, you guys seem to really just have such a tight-knit community. What the world sees, though, is you and Janet Todd really climbing the ranks at 1FC. Tell me a little bit about the relationship you have with Janet, and did it start at Boxing Works?
Yeah, our relationship started at Boxing Works. I can't remember the exact, you know, year or how old I was when we actually started training consistently. I'd say, I started training at 11, and then probably my last 2 years of high school when I was like 16 to 17, 16 to 18, I took a break from training. I just wasn't taking it seriously. I cared more about
Mhm.
like going out to parties, having a social life in
Well,
high
yeah,
school.
you're a teenager. Come on now.
Yeah, and that was the same time I think Janet, moved back home and started training regularly and wanting to compete more. So
Mm.
when I kind of came back into the gym and she started, getting more serious about things, that was about when we started training together, given we're both females, same size at the time, maybe the same weight. But yeah, our relationship started then, and just throughout the years of, these, your training partners become your family. These are the people I spend more time with, my training partners, than my actual family and friends,
Right.
even my boyfriend, who I've been with since like forever. Like I see them every day, hours on a day. So you organically just have to get closer to them. So
Yeah.
I
It does
definitely think
your
of her as a good friend.
Yeah, that's awesome. Does your boyfriend train as well?
No, and I mean, I think I get
Oh,
50-50 on this. I would prefer it that way. I wouldn't want him training
yeah,
with
yeah.
me.
I totally get it. And so it sounds like
Yeah.
you guys have been together for a while. How is it balancing that relationship? Because for people that train and are familiar with it, that's basically a relationship. So
Yeah.
how do you do with like trying to balance that lifestyle?
Yeah, I've been with him for so long. I've been with him since high school. I mean, like I said, I've been training and competing even when I was in high school. So he,
Right.
just like my best friends, they already knew about this whole other world, this whole other life of mine. So I think that definitely helped. He understands my priorities and goals, and he's a huge supporter of that, and my number one fan at that. So he's not gonna get in my way in any capacity of making this happen. He's always rooting for me.
Gotta love a guy that is willing to root for his girl. Love that.
Always.
Love that. I really wanted to ask you about your fight with Ekaterina Vananieva, because it was a very interesting situation where your teammate Janet fought her, managed to get the knockout. Have you ever had a situation like that where your teammate fought them first and then now you're fighting them? Like how did you handle that one?
Yeah, I've had it maybe once in my amateur career where like I
Yeah.
actually fought this person and then my other teammate fought her. But with this one specifically, yeah, it was interesting. I think some people thought we had like a advantage given the outcome with Janet and
Mm,
Katerina the first time around. And yeah, I think for me during the fight, I had to make adjustments just like any smart fighter would. Katarina came in there with a different game plan than she had with Janet. We
mm,
expected Katarina not to come in aggressively, but she did come forward with Janet. So we
yeah.
expected that. Where with me, she tend to stay back in that long range and, use her range from there. So those were the adjustments I had to make really in the fight. It was, okay, I can't play it outside. I got to come to her. So it was a bit different going into that fight.
Mm. Well, that fight is now in the past because you have a very big fight coming up so soon, April 22nd. It's the inaugural women's strawweight Muay Thai world title against Smila Sundell. Talk to me about, you get this call, right? And you say, okay, I'm fighting for the inaugural title. Tell me what went through your head.
Oh my gosh, it was like a mixture of emotions, honestly. It was a bit of like, it was a bit of everything. I've visualized and dreamed about this moment for so long, and it had this talk with some friends. It's like being a combat sports athlete's not a normal thing, but you do it
Mm,
so long, you think it's a normal thing. So like at the time, I really didn't really think anything of it. I was like, okay, it's just another fight, like it's another contract. But I guess it really took a couple weeks to sink in, like, oh wow, this is it. Like this is
yeah.
everything for me. This is everything I've been working for since I was a little girl. So I was just ecstatic and just, I'm not the world champion yet. I will be soon, but it just really proved to me that all the steps I took to get to this, to get to where I am. It's all from self-belief, and I know that all I just need, if I keep moving on through life with that same mindset, anything's
Mm.
possible.
A lot of the fighters that I have come to know and love, and me included, I feel like the mental aspect of the game is what, keeps people from achieving their goals. So, what would you say are some of the tactics that you use to really keep yourself grounded in those high intense situations?
Oh man, I think a lot of it, yeah, it's your own positive self-talk. People always ask what I do to get ready for fights and stuff, and I don't physically like speak out loud to myself, but I am in my head a lot, and usually almost positive things in my head. So it's a lot of like pushing myself mentally to, if I have a hard day, I just have to remember tomorrow's a new day. I have a new day to start over. I have a new day to start fresh. And I think by being able to work through those and have that mindset of things aren't, permanent, that's how you build a stronger mindset, more confidence, stuff like that.
It's all about the confidence. Confidence is key. So we're going to end with a few questions from Instagram. Got a couple of people wanting to know a few things. First one, is there such a thing as too much training?
100%. There's overtraining kills, and I've definitely been a victim at that. And I think training hard is just as important as your recovery. And recovery is not only resting physically, but that's your nutrition, eating properly, and all that. So I'm fortunate to have Brian, where he really, both my coaches, my strength coach and my striking coach, really value quality over quantity. So I'm lucky for that.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like you have such great mentors, but I feel like sometimes it's hard to find that balance of like, well, have a fight, I need to constantly be training. Well, maybe I should take a rest day, but I don't want to take a rest day. So do you kind of lean on your coaches for that answer sometimes?
I do. And I've definitely, after doing this for quite some time, I definitely trust my mind and body more. So I know if something feels weird, something feels off, I'll just say it. And I know it's not me. The old me would be like, oh, you're so weak for saying this, but it's really, you're really not. You got to be honest with yourself and your coaches and everyone else. And that's how you get to different levels.
Yeah. Do you have any fighters that you look up to?
Sounds cheesy and it's cliche, but of course Janet, she's paved the way for me and other female athletes, especially coming from the US. She's definitely an inspiration of mine.
And what is your favorite post-fight treat?
Oh man, there's so many, but like I said, anything with pasta, noodles, I think French fries too. Anything bad, just anything. Like I would say ideally I would have like some good pasta and a side of fries and some cookies or something.
Oh, I like your style, girl. I do. Well, you deserve all the cookies after your big fight on April 22nd. And thank you so much for your time today.
Of course. Thanks for having me.